All right, continuing on from this discussion about these dating gurus, another principle I've heard from one of these guys is they say that scarcity creates value, and generally it seems like a pretty good principle actually. Scarcity creates value. When you're not when you're rare, I guess you become more valuable. But then I started thinking about it some more. I don't know if that's entirely true either. Scarcity creates value. Because the word value, I think, is really hard to define here. This notion of scarcity creates value comes from economics. And it's just a question, it's just a supply and demand thing. So let me see if I can open up this, where's my app here? Open up this window here and kind of show how this works with economics. So scarcity creates value. Well, how this works is so you have a supply and demand curve situation. So the bottom is quantity, top up and down is price. If you have a product or whatever, there's always a certain price that a seller is willing to sell it at, and there's always a certain price that the buyers are willing to buy it at. And what you find is that as the price goes up, people who are selling it want to sell more because they're like, wow, I'll make a lot of profit. But as the price goes down, the buyers want to buy more because the buyers are thinking to themselves, oh man, the price is so cheap, I'll certainly buy more of that stuff. So where price ends up is going to be this place called equilibrium. Oops, why is that not? Oh man, that's so off. My my pen I'm using drew that completely off. So I don't know how to fix that up. Anyway, you can see that the point where they cross is the point of equilibrium. Well, scarcity occurs I guess you say when there's a lower supply, and so the supply curve moves over like so, and so you can see the equilibrium point has moved to the left and up. Well, that second equilibrium point, when it's up there, that is an increase in price. And so I think that's where this idea of scarcity creates value comes from. But to me, the increase of price, does that really mean the same thing as increase in value? To some degree, yes, but to some degree, I might say no. Let me come up with an example here. Think about back when COVID first began, toilet paper, right, became scarce because everybody was buying it, because people were afraid that they weren't going to have any toilet paper. So everyone bought toilet paper. You ran into the store, and I guess the price would eventually go up. And so in that way, you say scarcity creates value. But imagine if you did not know that there was a shortage of toilet paper. Would you have suddenly valued your toilet paper more? I'm assuming not. So you kind of have to know that the scarcity exists, one. Two, let's say that you are aware of it. Would you suddenly start loving your toilet paper more? I think there's actually a good argument to say yes, you would start loving your toilet paper more because there's not as much of it. And the more rare it is, the more you're like, oh my gosh, I really treasure toilet paper. Imagine, maybe living in the rainforest for many years. Actually, there's a scene from Jumanji where this actually happens way back from the 90s, Jumanji. Robin Williams comes back to the real world and he says, oh my goodness, thank goodness there's toilet paper. So, actually, I guess there's a fair argument to be made there, perhaps. I have to think about that again. I guess what my initial thought is that no, I don't fall deeply in love with the toilet paper just because it was rare. It's more of just the market. The price goes up, and that's not quite the same thing. And so, to test that idea, you can see on this chart, I presented here, I have the principle scarcity creates value, toilet paper is scarce. But yet, I don't think that toilet paper became more valuable. So toilet paper is not more valuable. But then again, I could be wrong, because like I said, that Jumanji thing I just thought about actually just now might be a good counter argument to that. So, but yeah, I didn't like want to start making out with my toilet paper when that happened, right? To me, it's still toilet paper. Was there an increase in value? I have to think about that carefully. But let's look at oil for a second. Oil seems, I think, more likely that way. I can certainly see that. If oil is really rare, you might really start valuing that oil more. I mean, obviously, you have the lines at the pump. But I guess, and so if you see that oil, after there being a scarcity of oil, do you start thinking, oh my goodness, it's so, do you start treasuring it more? Like, do you have a value in your heart for this kind of thing? I don't know. Let's just, maybe I'll say oil is valuable. I'm not sure. I have to think about this. But then I think about the old friend. The old friend is scarce too. Think about like an old friend that you haven't seen since maybe first grade. That old friend is scarce. So if this principle is correct in the way that this dating guru is suggesting it is, wouldn't you fall in love with all your old friends? Like, wouldn't you, like, today, I mean, assume, 30 years have gone by, you're looking back at your own friends, wouldn't you, almost, have like a erotic sexual feeling for your old friends? Because they'd be, because you never see them anymore, right? Like, there are certain old friends that you never see ever again. Are they suddenly like the one friends, I mean, are these the friends that you want to see more than anybody? Some of them, yeah, sure. I certainly have certain old friends that I would feel that way, but there's some friends that, I wouldn't feel that way at all. In fact, many of these friends, I don't even remember who they are. And if I did see them again, I don't know if I would feel that same degree of value for them. So I'm going to actually argue that the principle does not hold here. Old friend, why on earth is it doing that? Old friend is not valuable. Why on earth is it doing that? My gosh. I'm not sure how this program works. Old friend. Huh. Okay, well, anyway, I guess you know what I'm trying to say here. So the old friend, I don't think, is more valuable. So scarcity, in that case, did not create value. Let's go straight to the point, though. I mean, these guys are talking about, trying to be scarce with women, maybe with an ex-girlfriend or something like that. Well, why don't you think about your very first girlfriend you ever had? I can think of my first ex-girlfriend, my first girlfriend, and I never see her at all, right? And I have actually reconnected with her every now and then. But do I have massive desire for my first girlfriend? I mean, she's scarce, that's for sure. No, I don't. And many of you don't either. I'm sure some of you will. Certainly there will be, some of you will have an ex-love that maybe touch your heart so much that person is valuable by nature. But I think that's because of the demand side of the curve. It's the demand curve that's so high. It's not the supply part of the curve that's making it do that. If the mere absence of that girl, does it increase her value? That might be true in the in certain time frames, but clearly after some time that principle no longer applies. It's incorrect. So let me see if I can, hopefully this will work this time. First girlfriend, here we go. Yeah, first girlfriend is not valuable. And let's go to the stranger, right? The stranger is scarce. Man, I never see strangers. I mean, I'll see them appear in my life out of nowhere. Do I have like a massive desire to go make out with a bunch of strangers? No, I don't. I don't feel anything for strangers usually. So this notion that scarcity creates value, on the surface, I was kind of persuaded, but the more I think about it, the more I think to myself, no, I don't know if that's entirely true. And why do I not find it true? I mean, why is it the case that it's not always true? And I'm not entirely sure, because I do believe in economics, and I think the economic argument is actually pretty strong. But here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that perhaps what's happening is, where is that slide? There we go. Is that not over time, not only has the supply gone down, but somehow the demand here has gone down. And so if the demand goes down enough, imagine this decreasing demand curve, then this equilibrium starts to go down as well. And man, I thought this drawing thing was going to work really well for me, but for some reason my touchpad is, it's really makes me angry, actually, that my touchpad isn't working very well, that my touch screen is not working the way I want it to. Anyway, yeah, I'm not sure what it is, but I think I've made my point, and I think it really raises a good question. Does scarcity create value when it comes to dating? I don't know. I don't think it always does. I think if it's too scarce, they kind of forget about you. Which will bring me to my next video, is this idea of no contact. I keep hearing this idea of no contact all over the internet. I don't want to talk about that next, so. Alright, see you around.